We're working on this Ditchwitch, and it doesn't really matter. This happens to be a Ditchwitch 1820. This Vermeer wood chipper, whatnot, stump grinder is the exact same thing as far as the engine combustion chamber is concerned. Even this no name brand combustion, what is this, Duro Max? I'm not sure where it's come from. Is that a Harbor Freight tool thing? Doesn't really matter. See, what we're talking about is this bowl, and that's where the issue generally is. I'm going to show you exactly what the problem is. So all these carburetors are the same. If you can't tell, this is the part that's generally facing down, and so this is the actual bowl, and it sits like this. So this is obviously turned, and so when it's in position, it's in this manner here. This is one of the problems that we end up having, and it's a fuel cutoff switch, an electric fuel cutoff switch. One thing I can do is just shave it off, grind it, because it's supposed to move freely in and out. And what it does is it sits in this thing like this. Shoot, I forgot I have the gasket. And as I say that, look, the gasket fell out. So it's very important. Hang on to this gasket till you're done with everything. I've got my screws just kind of randomly there. I haven't dropped any. I'm super lucky to have because they're super small. It's obviously dark, can't see crap, so if it falls, and usually when it hits, it just goes flying, like always ends up happening. So this is an electric fuel cutoff switch, and what it does, that little needle goes in and it stabs a little hole. Yeah, kind of see the light shining through there. Inside that hole right there, look at that little pinhole. Basically what it does, it sits in there and it clogs up this hole right there. There it is, you can see now. It goes into that hole right there. So once it clogs that up, you can't get fluid into that center hole there. And then what ends up happening, they call it an easy start. Basically every carburetor has this little hole there. This one happens to have a notch just going right across the center there, and so fuel can sit right inside that notch there, and it'll suck it in through that hole. That's where this tool comes in. You can hear it. I don't know what all these numbers mean. I'm sure it's the diameter of the pick inside, and tells you what size it is and blah blah blah. I don't give a crap on the size. So it's not that hard just to look at these and see which one's going to fit inside that hole. So this tiny little hole always gets clogged because we're Americans and we treat Americans the best, and so we put corn in our gasoline. Now you can buy ethanol free gas. It's just like $1 or $2 more. For me, it's not worth it. If you're going to let your equipment sit for a year or two, then yeah, maybe the last tank you put in there, fill it up with the ethanol free stuff. To run it 100% off of ethanol free, you're just giving away your money. If it's the start of summer and you're gonna use lawnmower once a week, twice a week, don't waste your money on the ethanol free stuff. They rip you off. All these people are so dumb. They go to Home Depot and buy those cans, like a liter for $5 or something. It's like $20 a gallon for that ethanol free stuff. So silly. What a grand market. Those people are making so much money. So basically what you do, I like to start with the smallest pick and just jam it in there. So let me show you how far this little pick goes. I'm moving it so you can see how long it is, but you can see how far it goes, and that's really it. My hands are all dry, so if you want to wear gloves so you can have actually look at that, this thing went all the way in. My problem is the float in the seat. There you go. See, that's all the way in, so you can see how far that's gone. And basically look at all that gunk that came out. What's happening is that ethanol, the corn syrup, is sitting in there and it gets stuck and it becomes a rock. It's really hard, so you have to basically break through it. Feel confident that if you use the smallest pick, that sometimes what will happen is these are stainless steel and they'll bend, so you don't want to push it so hard that's going to bend and destroy your pick. Maybe you can go up one size, and I went up like 3 or 4 sizes. And again, my hands are super dry because it's dang gas, so I'm gonna have to wash the crap out of my hands and put lotion on for the next 2 weeks because I happen to be a registered nurse, but it takes 2 weeks to heal everything. Brain trauma, somebody's in a car accident and put them in a coma, they say, oh, we gotta pull the plug. No, bullshit, give them a week. 2 weeks technically, 10 days to 17 days. If they don't wake up after 17 days, dang it, man, they may not be waking up. So this is my float. And the seat is in there, and I don't have the little pin to hold the float in place yet. Ah, crap. But I'm gonna end up losing that dang float or the needle. It's the needle. It's the needle is right there. You can see the little tip of it right there. But anyways, sometimes that needle will get stuck and then you won't get fuel into your bowl here. So that's one way you can not get fuel. The second way is that little hole gets stuck. So I went ahead and got the retaining pin, and let me see this pin right here, and it moves very easily. It should move very easily. It just sits in there. But what's in that bowl, it'll sit right here, and the pin cannot go left or right, and so it just sits there, and it may vibrate a lot. But if it's moving, that's great, because then that float is moving. That float is moving as well. I have a hybrid battery car. That's a Ford C-Max. So I just leave it on and it's charging my car. And every once it'll just turn on because these damn idiots at the Ford dealership think it's cute to leave your daylight running lamps on. I hate that crap. Not only that, you can't turn off all the dome lights, or what I call the dome lights, but these are rear hatch. You can see there's one in the wall as well. But it drives me nuts. Why can I not control the damn lights in that car? Otherwise, the car would stay off a lot longer. The hybrid battery works. I've taken it out and fixed it too, and I may have bad videos on that. But this whole video is simply to tell you, change this out. 3 or 4, maybe $10, change it out. It's one wire. It's 2 contact points. This will touch metal, and that'll be the ground. The second wire would generally be the second wire, and this is just basically a live wire, so power is constantly going to it, and it will just pull it out. Push the needle back in so fuel can go. So this is the on and off switch. Because it has an electric start, it'll have that device on there. Is it because the other engines don't have this electric cutoff switch? So anyways, get this retaining pin out, pull out your float. Be very careful. Sometimes these the seat itself, the needle, will have a spring on it, so be careful not to lose your spring. I mean, you would think by now it'll learn to put a drape or something down so I don't lose these little screws. I don't know why I don't do it. It's just dumb. But I do try to move everything. So like my work area is there, and I've got all my tools over here. They are piled up. But what ends up happening, just like now, see, I end up kicking this dang thing. Inevitably, I end up hitting stuff. So I don't even like having stuff there, because I'll end up putting my foot here and knock that over or whatever. So I try to, my high school chemistry teacher, Mr. Chavez, always told us, you're either, screwing in a screw or you're holding a bolt, but you cannot do both. So if you're not screwing in that bolt, put it down. If you're not screwing it in, put the screwdriver down. So always do one thing at a time, and thus likely you'll end up dropping and losing stuff. You can see here I'm cheating. I put, what size is this? A 1/4 inch hose straight into my container, and the container's like up here, and it has that fuel pump. This is just a very basic fuel pump. It's got a little plastic diaphragm, and as air travels over it, it sucks it up. You guys can Google those. But that thing is just a diaphragm. Sometimes if it doesn't work, you can actually just open it up, clean off the diaphragm, slap it back together, and it's good to go. Otherwise, the fuel pump, that little fuel pump, I think those fuel pumps are actually expensive, $20-30 for that one component, so that does suck. I did take out the air filter. You can see the air filters right there. And so it's kind of hard and whatnot. But the problem I ended up having was I had gas coming out of that little point, not this one here, that one up there, and it would just spit it out, and all this was just getting drenched. And that's when I realized that if it is getting gas, it's not traveling where it needs to go. So now when I put it back together, it should run efficiently. Again, this is like your speed start. Some lawnmowers are advertised with speed start technology, which just means that that point is at the lowest part of your bowl. And so like this one's nice, like it only takes a couple of drops of gas to be able to get past this point when it's in the vertical position. And so that's super nice as far as getting it started. I've always considered putting some like paint thinner, or not paint thinner, paint stripper into the, like just put a little bit of paint stripper in here to let it run through the system, but I've never done it. I've always gone ahead and just used some basic carburetor cleaner. to clean out those hard spots, and I can't even tell you if it really does break down the ethanol or not. One other thing I have this can, and it's freaking fantastic. You put pressure in here with the little compressor. Hard to see it, but there's the compressor there, and I'll set up that compressor and set up my can to about 50 psi. I actually set them up to about 100 psi. I figure when I take it off, it drops down to 70 or so. But I'll just use gasoline. Put gasoline in there, and it cleans everything pretty good. I did have a student that was an engineer, and he did say if you get transmission fluid and lacquer thinner or paint thinner, not paint stripper, paint thinner or lacquer thinner, so you put like 1-to-1 and leave some space to fill it up with air, mix it just insignificantly amount, just and you're done. And that is really good for breaking down rust and oil and stuff. My grandfather used to have me wash my hands with transmission fluid when I was a child, so transmission fluid just cleans everything. But I'm gonna put it back together, and that's really it. I want to tell you about the electric cutoff. Clean off your little hole right there. This the notch itself, the little valleys, had a bunch of crap in them. The corn syrup that I call it. I cleaned it all off. All along the sides here is full of crap too. That notch was full of corn syrup. So it's like plastic. Once it dries, it's basically like a plastic, and you can chip it off. I don't know if carburetor cleaner or the starting fluid. I always have a can of starting fluid and a can of carburetor cleaner in my vehicle when I'm trying to go figure something out if I can get it to run. Sometimes you got to clean crap, and you can cheat, get that going, and once you get the engine hot enough, it'll eventually burn even the old gas that it has. This thing is full of gas, and it just smells like what do they call it? Varnish. They call it varnish when it's been sitting for a while. But all right, let me stop this video. I didn't mean to make it 12 minutes. Thanks for watching.